The Shah of Iran was unusually and refreshingly open in several interviews. When I used a phrase he didn't like, he clearly enjoyed the chance to throw it back at me.
As you know, I have been across the Gulf that you call Persian and they call Arabian.
Why do you call it Gulf? You have been to school, or haven't you?
Yes.
What was the name that you have read during your school days?
Persian Gulf.
All right.
But they do call it Arabian Gulf.
Well, they can do many things.
None of the Shah's comments raised hackles like his blast at the American Jewish lobby. Its influence, he claimed, went all the way to the top.
Surely, Your Majesty, you're not telling me that the Jewish lobby in the United States pulls the strings of the presidency?
Not entirely, but I think even a little too much, even for Israel interests.
You think the Jewish lobby in the United States is too powerful for the interests of Israel?
I think so. Sometimes they are disserving the interests of Israel because they're pushing around too many people.
Why would the President of the United States pay attention to that lobby?
They are strong.
Strong in what sense?
They are controlling many things.
Controlling what?
Newspapers, medias,
Your Majesty.
banks, finances, and I'm going to stop there.
Well, now wait just a second. You really do believe that the Jewish community in the United States is that powerful? They make the media reflect their view of foreign policy?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
They do not report? We do not report honestly?
Don't mix things, please. I don't say the media. I say in the media they have people. Not the entire media. Some newspapers will only reflect their views, yes.
No. The New York Times, for instance, is owned by the Salzburger family, who are Jewish. Are you suggesting that the New York Times is biased in its treatment of the question of Zionism, Israel's existence, the United States' relationship with the Arab world?
I will have to put all the articles of the New York Times written on this subject and draw the conclusion. You can put this to the computer and it will answer you.
What you're saying is that, yes, you do believe.
Well, let's wait for the answer of the computer.
Washington Post.
The same.
The networks.
Less.
I must say you are speaking with your characteristic candor.
Yes, if you like. I try to be candid. I have always been.
You're saying you do what every country does.
Sure.
If torture is necessary, you torture.
Not the torture in the old sense of torturing people, twisting their arms and doing this and that. But there are intelligent ways of questioning now.
Well, they talk about psychological and physical torture.
Physical, I don't believe.
Not
anymore. Maybe in the old days, maybe.
I talked just today to a man whom I believe, who told about torture.
He was tortured?
Yes.
And you believe that he was tortured?
Yes.
How many years ago?
Within, I want to be very careful, not yesterday.
Well, maybe. I don't know.
The word has gone out to stop it.
To stop what?
Torture.
But a long time ago, yes.
But the victims of Savat knew better.
They would tie their hands and feet. And there would be some sort of a hood that would be placed on their head, such that whenever they would scream, it would echo in their head. And then they would whip you at the bottom of the sole of your feet with the electrical cords. I had said on some previous occasions that we needed 10 years here to try to make this country a kind of a model state, a country where absolute justice will prevail, not only in the courts, but social justice too.
Iran was a dubious democracy, with the Shah as king, the granter of all rights, with all the power, with special privileges for his friends.
They say you can't get a contract here, and everybody's here. You know that. Vendors, contractors, without a little of truth.
I think it's the most unjust thing that is said. It's just jealousy. For instance, the military purchases, it's government to government. If there is a corruption, it's from your government or the government of every other country from which we buy. So this is the unfairest and most unjust thing that I have heard.
Is it possible, Your Majesty, that because you are so busy and because you have so many things occupying you that it could be going on behind your back, sir?
No. It's impossible because I have at least 5 inspectorate organizations. One, sooner or later, they will be caught. And, let me say this. First of all, I think this is a cheap accusation. Second, it is less than anything that you have in your so-called permissive society.
You mean you think there is more corruption in the United States than in...
Well, especially in your country, yes.
What you're saying, Your Majesty, is that Father knows best. What if you get a leader here who does not have your wisdom, your compassion?
Then the relationship between that leader and his people will not be the one existing between me and my people.
Well,
he will become another leader, as we have many in our country, who was kicked out by, well, my father kicked the former king here because he had no contact with his people.
and of course there are some dissidents, very small in number here, who would like to kick you out. 12 of them are in jail, and a couple of them, or 3 of them, are going to be put to death.
And 6 more will be shot, but because they are betraying their country, not because they're against me.
And they're betraying their country by?
Being Marxists and owing their allegiance to not their country.
You're a firm man, sir.
It's still needed. I can forgive those who try to kill me and even abduct my wife and my child, but not those who betray the country.